Welcome back to Port Elizabeth, the beautiful city. This is part 42, and we resume our walk done in February 2015 down Main Street, subsequently renamed Governor Mbeki Avenue. And this is the bottom of Mount Road, and I'm heading towards Albany Road. So it's not an area I know very well. So for me, it was a bit of a revelation to see all these buildings. I never grew up in PE, so let's see what we come across here. I've been told to look out for Art Deco buildings, so we might see a few nice ones. Again, I mentioned that I walked along the rapid transport lanes or whatever. They revamped the whole of Main Street to accommodate these buses, which have never really run despite the disruption and the cost. So there was a really nice building up on the right, on the corner there. This is Stamos Road. It's a dead-end road there. But this is quite interesting, eh? Nicely looked after. Ellerines, it's a famous old trade name. Yeah, one of my reliable old Port Elizabeth sources told me this was once a Nedbank building. Not sure what it is now. So the Main Street sort of meanders around the edge of the bay towards the harbour and the CBD. So this building's on a corner site here, sort of where Main Street, I think this might be Harrower Road going off to the left there. Yeah, Harrower Road. Crawford Street runs right across from left to right, coming up. We're heading towards Mount Road. So I think I might have gone down Crawford. Let's have a look. Nope, chickened out. Yeah, so apparently this, where Ellerines is, there used to be a cycle corner, great bicycle shop. Yeah, we see how this building sort of is a triangular shape. I guess that would be Art Deco, eh? Now these are from looks like almost the turn of the last century, about 120 years ago. It'd be nice if they had their dates when they were built on. I guess that's another Art Deco building there. Elfin House. And Ali's supermarket. Looking back towards that nice building. Pier 14. I think that went up roughly when I got to PE in the mid-80s. Could be wrong. And this was quite interesting. I took a shot down Doyle Street, and then I took another, and from having 4 cars in the picture, we've got just one and a very distant one. Pardon me. Geared Street coming up. So this is North End up above here. This sort of quite humble residential area, but historic and on the edge of all this industrial area. They used to say anyway, that if there was anything you needed, you could get it in North End. There's shops galore hidden away. Lewis, another famous name, clothing, I think. And Pier 14 coming up. It's this kind of, it's a shopping mall, I guess. Crawford Street with a Cairns building on the right, according to my source. And look at all the minibus taxis just clogging up Crawford Street. Pier 14. Quite a strange looking building. It's certainly not appealing. Robertson Street. Right. Now there's another Art Deco building coming up. Look at this weird way they've just put up a big facade there. And there used to be a horse in there, I think. Because I think that was where Saddlemaker was. Pier 14, strange signwriting. Green Street. Barrack. So I wonder if there was a barracks down there maybe at one point during the Anglo-Boer War or something. Green Street and Barrack Street straight ahead. And down Humphreys Road, and there's a North End mosque. And you'll see the mosques, they don't close them, unlike some churches. It's quite barricaded in there. It's like a fortress. Looking back up towards Main Street. Pier 14, formerly known as the Constantia Centre. And heading along, but looking back. So your Home Affairs used to be down here, Stone Street, just up this road or somewhere. Awful experience as well. Reed Street coming up on the left. And Myrtle Avenue. Look at the interesting design on this building on the left there. Diesel. It's a nice name for a street. Elizabeth. I'm surprised they haven't renamed it. And we're coming up to Albany Road. And this is Albany Road. So he says that this was the site of the old TV corner. It was one of the biggest movie rental shops in PE. It rent the projector and reel-to-reel movies. BM Cotton Jewelers was on the left. St. Paul's Church was here. Yeah, that's the early St. Paul's before relocating to Parsons Hill. So the late Lawrence Muller put that on my post on Facebook. So a lot of history here. And that's the view up Albany, which we visited in the earlier one. That's where the old fire station is. So I started heading back in the shade. So this was midsummer, February. And I got a perspective then across to the other side, like this grey building, which I missed heading up there, is now very interesting, isn't it? It's a real Art Deco thing, quite interesting. And raised walkway in Diesel Street. Yeah, fortunately I captured most of these. Abortions advertised here. It's always good to know, eh? That's the Carnes building, so it's another Art Deco. Doyle Street, I think. So Lawrence Muller says the building on the right used to be the Sambo Building Society, which became part of ABSA, and that's Crawford Street to the right. And back at the bottom of Mount Road, or at the intersection, Sharwoods. Lewis, yeah. Hancock. Now we're coming up to the law courts again. And this was apparently the Standard Bank. And the fish shop was Dexter's Sports Shop. Yeah, Magistrates Court. And then Broad Street, and I think I went and looked at those gables. Yeah, quite nice. Even the colours I enjoy. Public toilets and al fresco barber shops. And then Sangoma, I went in to look at his shop. And this is where all the healing stuff is. The family herbalist from Durban, it says up there. Yeah. Taff. Right, that looks quite run down, eh? But I bet you there are little interesting businesses down here. Back to Home Affairs, which is actually quite a nice Art Deco building. I think this was part of the motor industry. There would have been a retail car dealership here. the Sydenham Hotel was once in the middle there, with the hubcap bar. So that was at the height of PE's, being the motor city of the country, motor capital of the country. And this is where we began, Road Street. And the car's still there where it was, where I parked it. So that's the OMO building, where the liquor board has its offices. So that's where we walked. And Prince Alfred Road ahead. So this used to be called Prince Alfred's Park, I think. It was a public open space next to the lake. And then the park rugby club was in that Prince Alfred's Park. And it had to be closed to make way for this thing. So as I made a note there, my son and I, Luke, would go down every week or two to monitor this construction over the 3 or so years it took them to build it. And he set up a blog called 2010 Stadium Watch with the help of Doug, who's our computer guru. And yeah, I mean, Luke was 18, Doug was about 16. And it became quite popular. Incredible to watch them constructing all these things, these roof sections. They would do them on the sides here. You know, once all the brickwork was built, and then we watched them lift these things up with massive cranes. So there were cranes all around, and it was one hell of a, you know, you can imagine the engineering feat to, these are huge. It's one of the most interesting stadium roofs I've ever seen. That's looking down Prince Alfred Road and up the other way. So I drove around into Milner Avenue, which is on another entrance to the stadium, just for a few more shots. It was still a new stadium after 5 years. Haven't been back since about, not in the last 10 years. Some interesting buildings here too. There's the North End Lake. So it used to be, I think, quite a pristine lake, and then businesses and industries established around the edge, and it became a bit polluted. I don't think people would swim there, but they still fish there, and there's still a bit of bird life. And that's the view of the stadium across the lake from Gilboard, is it? Gibbo Road. So this is just an aerial view of where I walked. So I started these roads. Anyway, this is Main Street, Road Street here. And this is Mount Road. So if we continue, yeah, from Mount, then it takes a curve to Albany. So I've only done between two of the major. So PE comprises, if you go further up here, you've got Russell Road, then Albany, then Mount, and yeah, then it just sort of flattens out. But these all go up onto the hill. Next, we'll follow Military, which is the next street after Russell. We'll go up, explore Military Road. But for now, cheers.